Hi everyone, my name is Heather from JD Advising. I'm a course instructor and tutor, and in this video we're going to discuss how to use IRAC on your law school exams. Many law school exams consist of a long fact pattern and an open-ended call of the question, such as discuss the claims that each party could make or discuss the relevant issues. One of the keys to answering such a question is really good organization. So you probably remember IRAC, IRAC, from your legal research and writing class. IRAC stands for Issue, Rule, Analysis, and Conclusion. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can use the IRAC format to answer a question on a law school exam. The I of IRAC, as I said, stands for Issue. So one of the most important skills to develop for answering a good law school exam is to issue spot. As I said, a lot of law school exams have a very open-ended call of the question, such as discuss the relevant issues. Well, it's going to be your job to spot those relevant issues before you can discuss them. So here are some tips for how to make sure you're correctly spotting the issues. First of all, read the facts very carefully. Every fact is very likely in there for a reason. So think about what issues you could possibly discuss given the facts in the fact pattern. After you write an answer to a law school exam, go back to the fact pattern and make sure you discussed each and every fact. As you're practicing, you might want to take a highlighter and highlight any fact that you mention in your answer. If you find that there are a lot of facts that you haven't highlighted because you haven't discussed them, that's your tip that you probably missed some issues that could be discussed in your answer. Another way you can make sure you spot all the relevant issues is to prepare a checklist as you're studying of things that might come up. Some people call this an attack outline, or you could just think of it as a checklist of potential issues. So for instance, if you're making an attack outline for contracts, it would include more than just offer, acceptance, and consideration. It would include all those little issues too. So for offer, you might also include termination of an offer, revocation of an offer, a firm offer, option contracts, reliance on an offer, and things like that. If your exam is open book, open note, this checklist or attack outline is a really great resource to have in front of you as you're taking the exam so that you can just go down the list and make sure you talked about all the relevant issues. Even if you have a closed book exam, this is still a handy tool to prepare because you can visualize what's on your checklist if you're trying to think about issues to discuss in your answer. So once you spot these issues, make sure you state them clearly. This is your issue statement, or the I of IRAC. The R stands for rule. So the next thing you want to do after you identify the issue is state the rule that's applicable to that issue. Try to state this rule as concisely as possible. You don't want to waste too much time discussing the background of the rule, the history of the rule, other related but not necessarily relevant rules. A good outline that is centered on the rules rather than centered on the cases will really help you prepare a good, concise rule statement. The A of IRAC stands for analysis. This is really the meat of your law school exam answer. The goal of the analysis is to apply the law to the facts, and this is where you're going to pick up a lot of points. So for instance, if your fact pattern on the exam has multiple parties or multiple individuals involved, this would be a good place to discuss the different arguments that each side would make. Once you discuss the arguments, you should also analyze which argument is stronger or which argument is more convincing. So to do this, one thing you can do is turn to the case law that you learned from this class and show how certain cases are analogous or distinguishable, or that certain cases discuss policy reasons that make one party's argument stronger than the other. This is the place to show off your logical reasoning and argumentative skills. Finally, the C of IRAC stands for conclusion. It's very important that you conclude your essay. So in your analysis, if you address the different arguments of various parties, the conclusion is the place to identify which party should win. You don't have to be overly confident in your conclusion. You don't have to use exclamation points or really be super forceful with your conclusion, especially if you aren't sure. You can use words like probably or likely kind of soften the emphasis on your conclusion. But it is still important that you do conclude. You should never say, this issue is too close to call, or this could really go either way. You could say it's probable that this party would win, or it's likely that the court would rule in this party's favor. After you finish your IRAC for the first issue you've spotted, you're just going to want to start that whole process over again. So for each and every issue, you should have an I, an R, an A, and a C. If you have any questions, please feel free to email info@jdadvising.com. Thanks for watching.